Okay. About to say, even if they do something just like that, right? We can still play this back down, and because we have the mana, what was it? Death Touch, Lifelink. And because we have the mana, we can also go ahead and Vulpikeet onto the Pridemate. And we go over. So now we have a 3/4 flyer that also gains counters whenever we gain life. Also gains counters whenever we mutate onto it, so... What's up, everybody? My name's Chance. Today we're taking a look at a Budget Orzhov Mutate deck, and I've got to say, to be a budget deck, you know, it feels an awfully lot like that Gingerbread deck from yesterday. Maybe not quite as strong, maybe not quite as explosive, but man, does this deck feel really, really good for it to have absolutely zero rares in it. So, let's go ahead and hop in and, you know, take a gander at this, and why do I say you should play this deck? And if you were going to make it non-budget, say you didn't care about getting in the rare wild cards and all that, what would you add in? We're going to be taking a look at that at the end of the video, as I decided that when I do these budget videos, at the end, I'm going to try to do an upgrade guide. A lot of people seem interested in an upgrade guide for the Gingerbread deck. And granted, I don't want to make a whole nother video to go back and just show an upgrade for that deck. I do think that I should take that, or rather those comments, and, you know, try to adhere to them moving forward. So come the end of the video, we're going to do an upgrade guide for this Budget Orzhov Mutate. For right now, though, I'm going to explain to you exactly how it works. So down here in the bottom end, you have Heartless Act, you have Serrated Scorpion, you have Zagoth Mamba. You have all these creatures that are, well, Serrated Scorpion is just solid in general, right? It's a 1/2, so it can defend against those mono red decks. Whenever it dies, it deals 2 damage and gains you 2 life. So for 1 mana, you're getting just a lot of value basically out of this card, and it's only a common, so it's very cheap. Now, Heartless Act has lifelink, which means whenever you mutate some other creature onto it, right, and it gets bigger, it's gonna keep the lifelink, it's gonna keep the flying, it's gonna stay evasive, it's gonna do a lot of good stuff for you. Zagoth Mamba, card I haven't really seen played that much, but is honestly pretty solid to just sort of sprinkle in your deck. Mutate onto it, and then you're taking out your opponent's, you know, can't think of a good example right now, but you're killing them. Anyways, moving us on into the 2-drop slot. We have 4 copies of Ajani's Pridemate, and you'll notice, you know, we have Heartless Act, and we have Insatiable Hemophage that's gaining its life. There's, you know, Serrated Scorpion. There's stuff here and there and everywhere to gain its life. Every which way, which is nice. And of course we have Raise the Alarm to give us more creatures in order to mutate onto. Very cheap, 2 mana, instant speed. You get to create these 2 soldier creature tokens. Please note they are soldier, not humans. Anyways, we have 4 copies of Heartless Act for some removal. Great removal. I will say this. If you know your opponent is going to, you know, be playing a counter infested creature, maybe wait until they're about to put the counter on it and then instant speed hit them with the Heartless Act. I found that works best. Anyways, Grimdancer, another great card, as it can come down with Menace, you know, Death Touch, Lifelink, whatever your choice of those 3 are. However, the great thing is whenever you mutate onto this, you know, the bigger creature is going to get to keep the Menace and Death Touch, or Menace and Lifelink, or Lifelink and Death Touch, and, you know, it's going to be even that much bigger of a creature. Necropanther is going to allow you to return any of these creatures down here in the lower end back to the battlefield, which is, you know, kind of good considering you have Serrated Scorpion, Ajani's Pridemate. These 2 alone are very good targets. Now, Heartless Act, it's not going to win you the game immediately, you know. It's not going to force your opponent to go running for the hills, but it is something that's nice, tick up damage, nice life gain, and so, you know, getting it back certainly not going to hurt you. Now on into our 4/3 drops, because a lot of these mutate creatures right here only cost 3 to mutate, so realistically you're looking at something like this, right, where the deck is very, very efficient, which is kind of what I was going for. Anyways, King Caesar, you know, you're going to be able to mutate him down onto anything pretty much, and he's going to boost up everything pretty much, so that's kind of where I am with having him in the deck. Now, if you don't really like him that much, you don't like the whole +X, whatever, I do highly highly recommend throwing a Vulpikeet in your deck. It is fantastic. It gives flying to, you know, your Pridemate, your Serrated Scorpion, your Zagoth Mamba. It gives an extra counter on top of that whenever it mutates. And if you mutate it onto your Pridemate, then it's getting a counter every time it mutates and every time you gain life, which, you know, if you have the Insatiable Hemophage, could be both simultaneously. Anyways, on to Insatiable Hemophage, my favorite card out of Ikoria for its rarity, right? And for an uncommon, this card is bonkers. It's fun to play, it's good to play, and it feels so right when you win with it. So, Insatiable Hemophage, it is a 4-mana 3/3 Death Toucher. However, you can mutate it down for 3 mana, and it reads, whenever this creature mutates, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of times this creature has mutated. Now, what does that mean? Well, basically, let's say you mutate this creature down into your Heartless Act, okay? Well, one, you now have a 3/3 Death Touch flyer, right? That gets to attack off the bat. That's pretty good. Not to mention, whenever it mutates, you're going to deal 1 damage, right? Because it says X and X. So you're going to deal 1 damage, you're going to gain 1 life. Then you're going to turn around and deal 3 damage, gain 3 life. Come next turn, let's say you got lucky. You got another Insatiable Hemophage. You throw it down into the Heartless Act. Now, each Insatiable Hemophage that has been mutated onto the Heartless Act is going to deal, you know, X damage, so 2 in this case. So they'll both deal 2, and then they'll both heal you 2. So instead of dealing 1 damage, now you're up to 4. And, well, you can kind of see where it goes, because if you stack a third one, you guessed it, you're up to 9. And now you're just sort of doing prime number, oh, I lost the math term. You're doing prime numbers basically to a power of 2, right? Cubed. No, squared. Squared them. Goodness gracious. Anyways, I know it seems fairly simple. You know, you just have a whole bunch of creatures, a little bit of removal. But in all honesty, this deck feels fantastic for a budget deck. And of course, since we're playing budget, we only have the Orzhov Guildgates and the Scoured Barrens out here. But don't underestimate a Scoured Baron alongside an Ajani's Pridemate. I've never seen a better combination of lands into creatures while still being budget. Anyways, all that being said and out of the way, we are going to go and hop right into the matches, and I'll show you the madness that this deck can actually. Anyways, Complacent, going to be our first foe, and I think that's a great foe to have. You know, you always battle with this feeling of complacency. This is a very removal heavy hand, I gotta say. 3 Heartless Acts out the rip. Doesn't make me want to keep it, but I love the lands, I really do, so sure. I figured the Serrated Scorpion would be nice in case people remove our mutated creatures. We get a little bit back from it as well. Yeah, I think we'll just lead out with Scorpion. As well, whenever it comes back, thanks to the Necropanther or whatever, you know, it has that extra damage and life gain and whatever, this, that, and the other, you know? So I'm seeing now that we should have went for the Scoured Barrens first. That way this turn we could have for sure removed the Pelt Collector, because now we're in this tricky situation where that Pelt Collector is not going to die. We can Heartless Act it once and we'll be able to remove the counter that it's about to have, but you know, and we do want to swing in here because the Pelt Collector, once it gains the counter, is going to go up to 2/2, and obviously we don't want to block that. So, unfortunate. Yeah, Wildborn Preserver makes that Pelt Collector go up. Now we can remove the Wildborn Preserver. I don't think that's necessarily a bad remove. So sure. Destroy. We can always do some cheeky stuff where the Pelt Collector goes to swing in, we Heartless Act, remove all the counters, it fights our Scorpion, and then it dies because, you know, initially Pelt Collector is just a 1/1. So that's an option. We can also go for the Vulpikeet here if we want to. Necropanther, we don't really need to mutate you down quite yet. And honestly, it might be better to just play you and then mutate Vulpikeet onto you once we, you know, are at that point. We could turn the Yorvo into a 1/1, right? We could swing in and do that. Although I think if we're going to do something cheeky like that, we should realistically wait for them to swing in so we no guarantee that we have that, right? Alright, so I think that's what we're going for. It's either that or we just go for the Vulpikeet. It goes up to a 3/4. Yeah. Because if they raise the Pelt Collector by 1, we're definitely not killing it. But this way, we should be able to kill regardless, right? Because we're going to remove 3 counters from the from the Pelt Collector, block it with the Scorpion. That's my idea. Or we remove 3 counters from the Yorvo, since they're just throwing it up here like this. What can I say except you're welcome? So bye-bye, Yorvo. Getting killed by a little Serrated Scorpion has got to be embarrassing for him. My, the golly green giant. The jolly green giant. That's what I was going for. Getting taken down. Let's see, what does our opponent do? They just play a Lovestruck Beast. They're just trying to get that Pelt Collector up. They said, I don't even care. Now, Lovestruck Beast, can it not block or can it not attack? Can't attack, so it can still block. Duly noted. We actually don't have any creatures in our graveyard quite yet, so the Necropanther really isn't, as they say, useful. So we're going to go ahead and get down the Vulpikeet onto the Serrated Scorpion. We'll go over because the Vulpikeet has better stats. Now it goes up to a 3/4. We can block that Pelt Collector as well we could from before, right? And we could also just Heartless Act the Lovestruck Beast, but I think getting rid of the Pelt Collector might be better. We'll see. We'll see. Questing Beast. Well, I know what Heartless Act is going on to then, huh? Fairly easy assessment here. Boop. Alright, and then we're taking the 4 damage. It doesn't feel great, but it is what it is. Nice. Well, thanks. I think we're still playing it slow. I don't think I'm playing the Necropanther. And I think we're getting in with the Vulpikeet, finally. Finally, some damage. So let's see what Complacent does here. Now I'm wanting to leave the Necropanther back, defend with Serrated Scorpion here against the Pelt Collector, and then we can Necropanther onto the Vulpikeet and return the Serrated Scorpion next turn. Also, the Vulpikeet will be a high enough damage to actually beat the Pelt Collector, which is nice. Also, I need to check and see. The Vulpikeet comes in as a 2/3, right? So if I change it to the Necropanther, it's a 4/4, which at least makes it able to block. Ooh, Vivian Arcbow Ranger is not good for us, gotta say. At least their Lovestruck Beast still can't swing in. But yeah, getting... Oh, it can because of the Stone Cool. Well, that's GG, yeah? They're dealing non-damage, and I don't actually have life still, which is unfortunate. Serrated Scorpion is it's an ability. It's not life steal, so it would proc after the death. The Zarnum? I don't know. I really don't. But this looks kind of fun, right? We have an Ajani's Pridemate. We have a Grimdancer. We get to go first. Yeah. Yeah. I'll keep it. I also like how we have the perfect mana for the Grimdancer. Gotta say, that's a little lucky. Given that it's all untapped, right? None of it's like split colors. I'm gonna have to try to figure this out. Although realistically, I just play something down turn 1. You get what I'm saying, though. So we'll lead out with a Swamp, as I believe, you know, seeing a Swamp strikes more fear into your opponent turn 1 than seeing a Plains, right? You see a Plains, you generally think, well, they might be playing something something kind of janky. You see a Swamp, and you're like, they got removal. Me personally, this may not be everybody in Magic. Of course, don't let me speak for you if it's not truthful. You know, don't let me put words in your mouth, I guess is what I'm going for there. Now, do we want to go ahead and get down the Grimdancer and put lifelink on it and probably Menace? Then have the Ajani's Pridemate, you know, just swing in and do his little dose. I think so. I think we are putting lifelink. I don't want to put Death Touch on the Grimdancer, and it's because I may... Okay. I didn't want the Grimdancer anyways. Got you. Surprise, you wasted a counter spell. Nah. More than likely, though, they do have many more where that came from. So how do we do this? Let's go for you. Let's see if you'll catch a Sinister. Bum bum bum. The Zardom, they don't know what to do. Also, like, I'm just gonna call him the Zardom because I don't know what that I don't know what the 9 represents. I don't know why it's in there. It doesn't phonetically make any sense. I think I'm saying that correctly, right? Phonetically is when, like, the sounding of the words, I think. I could be wrong. You know, I took phonics in, like, 1st grade, but that's pretty much it. Bronborn Cutthroat. Well, that does give us a place to raise the alarm here if we wanna. Sure. Sure. Before they untap and have that counter magic back up, right? Which they have now. Another Grimdancer. Well, I think we swing all in. Worst case scenario, they play a spell and the Bronborn goes up to a 3/2 and they kill our Pridemate. In which case, we then know that they don't have mana for a counterspell, so we're all good to play the other stuff, right? So we'll see. But at least this way, they're not getting to counter something immediately. All of our 1/1s and the Scorpion, of course, right now pose a threat to the Bronborn. And if I have to pay a Pridemate to kill a Cutthroat, I'll be okay with that. Nope, they're just gonna take one little 1/1. All right, but now that they've done that, I can actually play my other stuff. So, would I rather have a Lifelink Menace or Death Touch Lifelink? Probably Death Touch Lifelink, am I right? But you definitely want the Lifelink on there. Or I guess if you were planning on swinging in, Menace Death Touch isn't bad either if you're just planning on, like, edging out the damage little by little, right? Nonetheless, I digress. Are we swinging in with the Pridemate here? Because if they play something, the Cutthroat goes to a 4/3 and they immediately get to kill the Pridemate, right? We're pretty sure they have a Sinister as they've been playing like it all game, basically. I think we just swing in with the Grimdancer, honestly. Like, we're doing fine on health and all that. So if we can just force them to not play their Sinister, to continue to allow us to play our spells, I feel like that'll be a benefit. Even if they just... Okay. About to say, even if they do something just like that, right? We can still play this back down, and because we have the mana, what was it, Death Touch, Lifelink? And because we have the mana, we can also go ahead and Vulpikeet onto the Pridemate. And we go over. So now we have a 3/4 flyer that also gains counters whenever we gain life. Also gains counters whenever we mutate onto it, so. Now, of course, they can play down Brazen Borrower, but Brazen Borrower isn't exactly big enough to deal with Vulpikeet. All right, so here we go all in with you and you. What can I say except you're welcome? That's such a good song, man. Such a good song. Anyways, the Zardom. What's your ace in the hole here? What's your trick up the sleeve? Because obviously drawing lands isn't it. If I go next to damage, they just let that ride. If I remove the counters, they play something that allows them to build a counter for the Bronborn Cutthroat. Am I right? So do I save the Heartless Act then? Knowing that it would be wasteful to play it here. Yes, I save it. And if they try to play something here, well then you play it, right? But I think it truly would have been wasted there, because if we remove the counter, they play the even the Brazen, right, which we can see, and then Bronborn's fine, like still does the thing that they're trying to get it to do. So I think we end our turn there. Yeah, opponent's hurting for mana. I gotta say, it feels fantastic for us. Alright, are they going to just get the Brazen Borrower down? And if they do I just Heartless Act it, right? Because Brineborn's got some stuff to go through, right? This Serrated Scorpion, a little 1/1 creature token. And that's not to say that they can't do some flashy shit where they give it flying. Right now they're in Is It colors, so I'm not too terrified of it. Most of the, like, give creature flying ability are in white. Now, granted, there are some in blue. I don't know, the Zardom. What's going on, buddy? I know you're there. You know you're there. Don't do this. Oh, there we go. They're still thinking on it, surely. They have timeouts. Timeouts aplenty. Alright, so resolve. That Brineborn's getting mighty large, but that's okay. And I suppose we could have snuck in a Heartless Act there at the end of our turn, right before they untapped. I don't know. I think saving Heartless Act is perfectly okay. So they're in a bit of a predicament, as we do have this flyer that sort of just gets to rain shots at them. And the second they go to play their Borrower, they lose all mana to counter spells, so I'm free to kill it. What does the Zardom do? I mean, something like a Storm's Wrath would only kill their creatures. My Vulpikeet would live, so not really where you want to be at, right? We know they have a Sinister in one of their 5 cards. They have to. Or another counter magic. It doesn't have to be Sinister, you know what I mean? Alright, so that's cool. We'll just remove that real quick. What can I say except you're welcome? Oh, that's actually beautiful. Because it turns their 3-turn timer down to a 2-turn timer. So we'll swing in, and now they have to remove the Vulpikeet, or it's GG. Although I gotta say, we're getting a little flooded. We're drawing all the lands that the opponent's missing, it seems like, but that's okay. We're only at 7. What can I say except you're welcome? Alright, the Zardom, that's going to be it for him, which means they probably have a Brazen that they're about to play onto the Vulpikeet. Right? So then if I were to mutate you here, all the other creatures get +2/+2, which sends them up to a 3/4 and a 3/3. Not quite big enough. If I put it on you, it sends it up to a 2/2, and this is just a 3/4 as well. Now, you say, Chance, why are you doing this? Here's the thing. If they're going to bounce my Vulpikeet as soon as I swing in, right? They're going to put those creatures back into my hand, whatever. I think it's better to go ahead and get down the King Caesar, or make them do something along those lines, right? Where they have to sort of waste something. They have to give it up, and that has to be their whole turn. Because I can get my creatures back down, no biggie, no problem. So we swing in with Vulpikeet. They Brazen Borrower it. Brazen Borrower it? Is that right? Oh, they shock it. Did I miss something? No, that was it. That was their coup de grace. They didn't. Alrighty, picking up a game 1 up against the Zardom with our picking up a game 1, picking up a victory 1. Y'all know what I'm saying. Dr. Dre or Dre, I don't know. Sure, I'll keep it. Anytime I see double Insatiable Hemophages, as long as I have some mana, probably gonna keep it. It's hard to say no to that card. I'm just being honest with y'all. It's a really, really big favorite of mine. No, man, look at this person with the Simic card style. Now, on this next turn, I'm very tempted to just play the Scoured Barrens so I can guarantee turn 3 hit Insatiable Hemophage. I'm not saying it's the best play. I'm not. God damn it. Okay, I'm not doing it. Fine. It's hard for me to sit here and say that's not the best play and then do it, you know? The reason it's not is because, like, if we play the Swamp, we can play the Serrated Scorpion here. Next turn, we can play another Serrated Scorpion. And so it's okay. And the potential of drawing an untapped land, I guess, goes up after we've missed a card, right? Only slightly, but it does go up, so. We'll see. Our opponent's playing Dimir, so I'm a little worried about them picking apart our hand. No, just a Blood Operative. And I got Scorpions for days, buddy. Scorpions for days. We are going to go ahead and swing in with the Serrated Scorpion as, well, it gets to remove a Blood Operative, right? And sure, they're going to gain 3 health, but it's going to deal 2 damage, so they only get to gain 1 health, and we dealt 1 damage with Heartless Hawk, so... Did they gain any health? Yes, they did, by the way. Right? 3, which means they gained 3 total. I dealt 3 total. So yeah, they didn't gain any health. We didn't deal any damage. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You know, it makes good sense. Now, I can Necropanther onto my Serrated Scorpion and bring back my Heartless Hawk, which I'm not going to lie, I kind of want to. So we'll go over. You say, Chance, why are you like worrying about this Heartless Hawk so much? Well, for one, they have a Dimir spy bug, so we know they're trying to, you know, surveil and build up this menace flying son of a bitch. So I want my Heartless Hawk in the air to sort of combat with their flyer. Now, I'm not going to be blocking their flyer because their flyer has menace, obviously, but I'm going to try to make my flyer so menacing that they have to block. So if I put, you know, the Insatiable Hemophages on my Heartless Hawk, are they going to block? Probably. Probably. I mean, hell, they're dealing damage to themselves here anyways. Of course, this does allow them to get Blood Operative back, which, you know, may end up paying out in the end. They, of course, can't play it back down here, which is fantastic news for us. But, we shall see, we shall see. Night Veil Sprite. So they are going to swing it with the Spy Bug because then they have, you know, the 1-2 back to defend. And they feel confident in that. That they do. So this turn we can get down the Scorpion. We can get down the Insatiable Hemophage onto the Heartless Hawk. And again, you could throw this on the Necropanther. Argument could be made because then it deals 2 damage instead of just the 1 here. But, you know, to each their own. We're going to get in for 6 damage, take them down to 4. Unless they decide to block with a Night Veil Sprite, in which case, hey, we're taking out a Night Veil Sprite. I'm not going to feel bad about that by any stretch of the imagination. Nope, they're going down to 4 and we're up to 27. Feels good. Also, key little note, if they don't gain any health, and if our Insatiable Hemophage can live, that is lethal. Because we'll play our other Insatiable Hemophage down onto the Insatiable Hemophage. Each Insatiable Hemophage will deal 2 damage. Well, you guessed it, they're at 4 health. So, as long as we can get to next turn and they don't have any life to gain, which sure, they can play the Blood Operative, but that takes 3 mana, and then they have 2 mana with which to gain life in Dimir. I know Creeping Chill is a way to gain life, but as far as I can remember, it's like a ooh, wrong choice. I understand why they did it, right? Because I could always mutate onto it later to get back our other creatures that they go to remove. So, I understand, but at the same time, it did sort of seal their fate. Oh, and it was a Scorpion underneath there too, so it dealt 2 damage to him, so... Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do here, Dr. Dre. Alright, so mutate, and we throw out the GG. So, Budget Orzhov Mutate, picking up a victory number 2. Keith Chan, gonna be our next foe for the day. Maybe I should go get some water after this next match, we'll see. We get to go first. Solid lands, yeah, I'll keep it. We got some removal, we got some stuff here and there and everywhere. Also, I got some like mustache hair in my mouth. Oh, it sounds disgusting, but I guess this is what happens when you go for a long beard, which I'm trying for now. You know, I had this thought the other day, or I guess it was the other week, really, because you can clearly tell this has not been growing for just a day. But I had this thought the other week, right? You know how whenever, at least this goes for men, I don't know if this goes for women, for women, when you're like, your hair is getting longer and it's getting longer, and then you just get to that little awkward phase, kind of like where mine is now, where the back's like too poofy for the front, you know what I mean? And after that phase, it gets fine, you know, your hair sort of falls back down and it gets the natural, like, wave or curve or whatever you want to say to it, right? So they have a Karametra's Blessing, right? It's okay to say you're welcome. Anyways, so your top hair gets to that awkward position, right? I kind of want to swing with the Healer's Hawk as well, but I feel like that if I do, they're not going to be forced to use that Karametra's Blessing. Whereas if I do it this way, they might. Anyways, your hair gets to that awkward phase. After it gets fine. You're like, whatever, it looks cool now, dope. That's the feeling that I'm having with my mustache. Like, what if it just gets to an awkward phase and then it's fine? You know? Was I shaving my face all this time for no reason? Should I have just pushed through to the other side? And that's sort of what I've been thinking about. Anyways, I don't know. We're not going to try to Heartless Act their Healer's Talk because we can tell that they were showing mana for a Karametra's Blessing, and, well, you just don't do that. You don't play into things of that nature. As unfortunate as, you know, the situation seems to be, where their Healer's Talk is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're not really able to do anything with it. Now, I can block here with the Healer's Talk, and that allows for an Ajani's Pridemate to swing in come next turn. But they are still gaining the life off the Healer's Hawk, so it is still a burden in that manner. I go back to my turn. A Vulpikeet. Vulpikeet's interesting, but it taps us out as far as being able to play Heartless Act. If I can draw an untapped land next turn, we can play Vulpikeet and have Heartless Act, which is probably ideal, and really what I want to go for. So we're probably going to swing in with just the Pridemate here. I'll leave the Healer's Hawk back to defend. And me and this opponent will sort of stay at this stalemate. Yeah, I got to get some water after this match. My throat is like, no chance, quit talking. Solid footing. Okay. They're just really building up this Healer's Hawk, which makes me like think that they're never gonna drop that mana for the Karametra's, right? So am I just taking the 5 damage here? Because if I block, again, Pridemate just gets to continue lashing back at him. I think we gotta block. It's okay to say you're welcome. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. Ginger Brute. And that's probably it, because again, they're saving mana for the Karametra's. Oh, wonderful. That's great. That's actually everything you want to see, right? Everything I want to see. I don't know if you want to see it, but I want to see it. So we are putting it over just because it gains 1 extra life, right? Like 1 extra defense. Still does everything it was doing before, but 1 extra defense is nice. Now, are we swinging in? Because it's a 7/8, you know? Their Ginger Brute's eventually going to get to the point where it's too big for us to deal with. Is that correct in me saying that? If we deal 7, they go down to 14. They heal 4, they go back up to 18. We go down to 18. I don't think it's worth me swinging in. I think we'd rather stay at this stalemate for a little while. Maybe they'll slip up, play their mana, and I'll have Heartless Act, you know? Just sitting there, waiting, ready. Owlslit isn't great because it just gives them another way to block out my Heartless Act. So if I go Heartless Act here and we force them into the Karametra's Blessing on the Healer's Hawk immediately, it at least saves us the trouble of having to deal with that Owlslit later. And this way we're getting rid of their last card in hand. They play the Lourdes down. No, they can't play the Lourdes down, right, because we have Heartless Act them. God's Willing. It was God's Willing all along. It wasn't even a Heartless Act. Or a Karametra's Blessing. That's alright. So we're keeping them from playing the Lourdes this turn. We're getting rid of that. Damn it, we really needed something besides just another land. Hello, game, stop flooding me. I need playables here. The opponent's gonna catch up because they have a Lourdes. Well, never mind. They don't have any cards to play back from their graveyard anyways, but still, one all that glitters on a ginger brew is very bad day for us. Very bad day for us. Sentinel's Mark on the Healer's Hawk. They're trying to make it as big as possible so that way, you know, it can actually deal with Vulpikeet. Still can't. It's a 7/7. It's getting there. It's still not quite there yet. Grimdancer. I love me some Grimdancer, and here's why. Death Touch. Now, we can put Lifelink if we want to keep building our Pridemate and all that. But I really want Menace. And this is forcing our opponent to give up two things to this creature, right? Two creatures of their own to kill a creature of mine. Now, their Healer's Hawk, like I said, it's one little point of damage away from being able to just wreck through our Vulpikeet. So maybe going for life gain was the correct play there. Another Sentinel's Eyes. That's fine, because now we see that they have nothing to defend it with in hand, which means the first second that we get some removal, we get to remove it. So we're going to take the 8/8 damage to the face. It's not great. It's not fun. Sometimes it's what needs to happen. And then sometimes you draw exactly what you need right after it, right? Of course, they still have Owlslit, so it's not going to run through. But we can either play this game where we try to get through their Owlslit all day or make some moves. Now, this forces them into next turn being able to play their Lourdes and play their Owlslit back, but then they won't have the mana afterwards to actually... And now, of course, we can't attack with the Grimdancer because then their Healer's Hawk will just kill it for no good reason. But if we don't play it there, then they just keep building mana. They keep building their board back because here they play their Lourdes, they play their Owlslit, right? We take the 8 damage. We have no choice. Well, we do have a choice. I guess I could chum block my 7/8, but realistically, I'm not going to do that. So they play Lourdes here. They do play an Owlslit back, unless they have a God's Willing in hand. They have a God's Willing in hand? Are you kidding me? Keith Chan, when you draw everything perfectly, but not perfectly, you know what I mean? So that's a God's Willing in hand, guaranteed, right? We have to block their Healer's Hawk with our Vulpikeet this turn. They take the damage. Well, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Actually, they can just win here. Right, they sack their Owlslit to the Healer's Hawk named White, and it's a GG. Alrighty, Keithchin. Good on ya. Zenspa. Zenspa? I don't know. Zagoth Mamba. One of the first times I've actually seen this card. Sure, we'll keep it, because I'm interested to see how this plays out. And I think I'm going to go Healer's Hawk Zagoth Mamba off the Ripperuno here. Opponent's playing Cycling. Am I happy? Not really. Happy isn't exactly what I would use to describe the feelings I have about Cycling. But that's okay. Maybe they're doing something cool with it. Maybe they're putting a little twist here or there or somewhere. Not gonna lie, I was hoping that was a land so I could, you know, mutate my Vulpikeet onto the Zagoth Mamba and use it for what it's meant to be used for. But without a land, do I just want to Heartless Act this Valiant Rescuer? Do I want to get down a Pridemate? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I do. Let's get rid of the Valiant. Here's the thing with with cycling though, the thing that really hurts, I guess, whenever you remove their creatures, you're only like building up their Zenith Flare, right? Well, there's a land, but it's gonna enter tapped, so. Oh man, y'all are about to yell at me. Oops. We'll say that to our opponent too, so they know that was an oops. Our Pridemate could have been a 4/4 there. I messed up. Play the Pridemate, then play the land. Always pay attention to your hand. Always. Alrighty. That's what you want to see. You want to see a Zenith Flare used on your Pridemate every time. Man, that was great. Alright, so we'll go over with the Zagoth Mamba. And we'll -2 from the Draenith Healer. Get it out of here. I'll get in for 4 damage and call it good. Call it all good. Goodness. You know what I'm surprised the cycling decks haven't picked up yet? Something like a Storm's Wrath. Some kind of board wipe, you know? It feels like they could really benefit from it. Had Deafening Clarion even, you know? Call me crazy. Goodness gracious. Water after this match for sure. I think I said it after the last match and, well, I just didn't do it, so. Why did I play the Raise the Alarm there? To be completely honest, I was going for the Swamp and I just missed it. That's it. Just the simple little misclick. Simple little misclick. Our opponent is 1 damage away from death, which means Insatiable Hemophage is kill. Huntmaster Liger is a kill. Anything that mutates onto our Vulpikeet, right? Anything that gives us extra damage. Well, never mind. They're just gonna play out a whole board. So no. Gain a little bit of life. Gain a little bit of a board state. Deal a little bit of damage. Everything you want to see. Well, everything they want to see. Nothing I wanted to see. We're getting in here, here, and here. That is going to be 5 damage. So they're still on a 2-turn timer. Well, Draenith Healer. Man, that's pain, isn't it? So how do we then... Again, single mutate of any kind will allow us to get where we're trying to go. Hopefully they don't go on an absolute tear of cycling here. Lord knows that's the worst thing with a cycling deck is when they're almost close to death. They have the Draenith Healer, and the next thing you know, they've cycled 8 cards and they're back up to being perfectly fine, right? But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and you just gotta deal with it. Oh man, Magic. This is something. No, I'm not blocking. Insatiable Hemophage. Insatiable Hemophage. Alright, so let me think about this. If I put it here, it's dealing 2 extra damage. If I put it here, it's only dealing 2 damage. Right? Well, no, it's dealing 3 damage. So if I put it here, we're dealing 2 extra damage. If I put it here, we're dealing 3 extra damage? Is that right? Because we're doing 2 from this, which is 6, and then putting it up to a 4/5. 4. That is lethal if I put it here. If I put it here, is it also lethal? 1 goes down to 7, 3, 3. Yeah, it's also lethal. Huh. Cool. Go beans. Boop, boop, boop. And GG cycling. He never stood a chance. I wasn't ever scared. Anyway, Spidey T gonna be our next foe. This hand's a bit expensive, but we have the Zagoth Mamba, which makes me want to play it. Not gonna lie, because we also have the Insatiable and the Vulpikeet, which means we can double mutate onto this card and hopefully get some removal down. We also have the Grimdancer, which is great. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I'm going to keep it. I think I do go ahead and play the Scoured Barrens off the bat too, because we don't have an immediate turn 2 play. So, you know, waiting on the Mamba till turn 2 doesn't hurt us too much. It's only 1 bit of damage. And granted, sometimes that 1 bit of damage is everything you need. But if we draw into something like a Pridemate, we're gonna feel really bad, right? Like next turn. Well, there's the plains anyways. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get down the Mamba then, since we drew into the plains. And we'll probably still go Scoured Barrens, as long as we don't see something like a Pridemate here. Raise the alarm. Well, I mean, that is something like a Pridemate, right? It's something we can play here. Our opponent's playing Teamer, at least so far. Rhythm of the Wild, okay. We'll go ahead and get down, raise the alarm. And I think I'm going with my Grimdancer before I go for this stuff. Am I correct in saying that? So that way we can Zagoth Mamba and -2 on things. Sure. So, given they have a Rhythm of the Wild, I want the Death Touch. Do I want the Lifelink or do I want the Menace? I think I want the Menace. We'll get in for 3 damage. This makes it to where later, you know, we can swing with the Grimdancer and they're going to be less likely to double block it. Migration Path. What are you doing? Spidey T, you've piqued my interest. You got all this land, you got a Rhythm of the Wild. I'm a little worried, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit scared. We have another Grimdancer. And you know what I say, why not? Why not? I am going to give this one Lifelink and still Menace. Still Menace. The reason I'm giving that one Lifelink is so when we mutate, you know, if they don't ever draw a creature, we can mutate onto Grimdancer or something, I guess. I don't know. I guess mutating onto the 1/1s is still better because it gives a higher damage. Ah, I see. It was a Drock, you said. They just wanted to play it. Alright, so they'll remove both of our Grimdancers and the Zagoth Mamba. Yeah, I mean, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. I say it's an interesting route that our opponent went for here. I don't know that we're going to be able to pick up the victory after, well, this. I don't even know what this is. I guess we could go for a Death Touch, but as soon as Dracuseth swings in, it kills whatever has Death Touch on it, so it's kind of pointless. So we just lose, yeah? We just like straight up lose. So even if I do something like this, we can't double mutate onto it, which means it's still only gonna have 4 health, which means it still doesn't escape Dracuseth's rage. It's not enough to finish our opponent either, so yeah, that's gonna be a good game. Good game, Spidey T. I was curious. Wish I wasn't now. Alrighty, matches are over now. It's time for the upgrades for this deck or the sideboarding options. I've decided I'm going to put the 2 of them into one. So like here, we're going to start with the upgrades and then we're going to move into, if you want to play this deck differently, here's some other ideas. So for the upgrades, I don't want to do this in a manner where it's like, oh, well now you're not upgrading the deck, now you're literally building a whole new deck. So I've decided to put the upgrades with the cards that I would be replacing them with sort of out to the side, right? All right, so taking a look here at our first round of upgrades, and this, you don't have to have an exact 1-to-1 ratio, and if you don't have the rare, don't worry about it, and if like you're not that interested in the deck, certainly don't worry about it. Remember, these upgrades are only for people that saw the deck, they were absolutely in love with it, and they're looking for a few cards that I personally think do upgrade the deck. Now, if anyone down below has any suggestions on like, hey, I think this card works better than what you said, you know, say it. So that way, you know, other people watching the video can have more opinions, they can have more knowledge and more to pull from when they go to build their upgraded version. Anyways, on and, oh, also, you know, leave a like down below, comment in the comment section, subscribe for more, hop over to twitch.tv/Dr. Spillikin. And toss a follow if you want to see us play these live, and then down in the description there's always a Discord link. Y'all can, you know, join up with us over there. We're trying to do more work on the Discord on the back end. I got a lot of things going on as far as things I'm trying to do for the channel, but haven't exactly brought to light yet. Anyways, you'll see in due time. All right, on into this this upgrade guide, basically. So Serrated Scorpion's nice, but it's mostly meant for those aristocratic style Lotus decks. God, I can't make it through a single one of these recordings without jumbling my words at least once. It's a good card, okay? Don't get me wrong, it's a good card, but you generally don't want your mutate creatures dying, right? That's like the opposite of what you want. You want them to live. So instead of Serrated Scorpion, you might could think of tossing in a Knight of the Ebon Legion. Still a 1 mana drop, 3 mana, and this card, even without a mutate, you know, even if you haven't drawn into the mutate, it can buff itself, it can gain counters. Even after it's mutated, it can still gain those counters, right? And here's the best way to describe it. Knight of the Ebon Legion is a body on its own, right? Because it can go up to a 4/5 and gains Death Touch. It's not only a good attacker, it's a solid defender. Which means, like, when Knight enters the battlefield, a lot of people are afraid, they do want to get it removed, and it has a little bit more board presence than the Serrated Scorpion. Furthermore, when you upgrade, like I said, you can gain the counters, gain the Death Touch, all that stuff still after you've mutated it. It's a very fantastic card. Definitely recommend if you have it. If not, don't go pick it up just for this deck. But if you have it, certainly recommend tossing it in. Moving us down, we have Hunted Nightmare, which is kind of like a better version of Grimdancer to a degree. Now, I think there are some strengths and some weaknesses, obviously, to Hunted Nightmare being traded in this deck instead of the Grimdancer. One, it is a lot more powerful. It has Menace, you know, innately equipped to us. You don't have to make this decision or whatever. However, it does give your opponent a Death Touch counter on a creature if they control one. Which, obviously, you're playing Mutate. You don't want them to be killing the creatures that you're mutating onto. But, you know, it's a solid base. It's a 4/5 for 3 mana with Menace. It's very hard to beat that. So even, you know, you mutate with your Vulpikeet down onto it, and now it's a 5/6 flying Menace. You know, this card can get very crazy very quickly. You mutate an Insatiable Hemophage, and now it has Menace and Death Touch, and it's gaining life whenever it gets mutated onto. You know, it's crazy. And again, this is one of those cards I don't recommend you go out and pick up just for this deck, but if you have it, yeah, toss it in there. Cub Warden, I believe Cub Warden is a straight upgrade on the Necropanther and the King Caesar. Don't get me wrong, I like them both. King Caesar's cool. Necropanther, I really want it to be cool, but it's a little too expensive, a little too inefficient for what you're getting out of it. But Cub Warden feels very nice. You know, and this is coming from a jank player, so take this with a pound of salt, if you will. Cub Warden is every jank person's dream. It has lifelink, so it keeps you alive against those aggro, you know, matchups, whatever. People throwing mono red at your face. It has a solid baseline stats, 3/5. You can't lava cool it. If you're gonna shock it, you're gonna have to use 3 of them on it, right? It can't just die to a Bone Crusher Giant. It takes a lot to get rid of this big bastard, and it creates you 2 more little tiny bastards. So, like, I don't know. I'm an absolute fan of this card. I think it's fantastic. I think it's fun. You get this plus Insatiable Hemophage down to the same creature, and then you are just looking to mutate on that baby all day. Of course, be careful when you're mutating all into the same card, yada yada yada. Anyways, Cub Warden, fantastic card. I think it replaces these two very easily. If you have it, again, slip it in. If not, don't worry about it. Batra, Dark Destroyer, Dirgebat, the card that I still yet to have any copies. Although, you know, the banned and restricted cards went through, so now maybe the time is now. You know, I got 8 rare wild cards back from that. I'm sure I could spend 2 or 3 on Batra. Give the Dank Destroyer a chance, you know? Anyways, has Flash Flying. Whenever it mutates, you can destroy target creature or planeswalker. If you're not upgrading into this card, you're crazy. Like, this card, these 2 right here, I feel like are straight upgrades for the deck, and I would venture to say that these 2 hold precedent over some of these other ones, as Necropanther really isn't a great mutator. Sorry, I can't say mutator and not think about tater. Okay, anyways, I definitely think Necropanther, like, get this out of your deck if you can. King Caesar always seems nice in theory, but never really works so fantastic in practice. So you definitely take these 2 out if you're looking like, what do I cut first? Cut them for more mutate. If you can't find more mutate, then don't cut them, obviously, but Cut them for more mutate, because Dirgebat and Cub Warden, they're the fun mutate. They're the mutate that pays off well. They're the mutate that feels good, allows you to win games. You know, everything you wanted in the mechanic. Anyways, now that the upgrade guide is out of the way, I'm going to show you how you can play this deck a little differently if instead of, you know, worrying about upgrades or whatever, you're just worried about sort of stepping to the side a little bit. So, now there are also some upgrades in this, and we'll get to that. Kaya's Ghost form in a mutate deck. I know you're thinking, Chance, that's a little weird and awkward, because when the creatures come back, they don't re-mutate. You don't get those effects once again, right? And I say, yeah, you're right. But here's the thing. You're paying 1 mana for a Kaya's Ghost form, right? One single little whatever. Your opponent's probably playing Shatter, Kaya's Wrath, Time Wipe as their board wipe, you know? And even if they exile your card, you know, it gets to come back. So you're not getting the full mutation, but you're spending 1 mana. And if you think about it, it could actually turn out better for you. You're spending 1 mana. Your opponent's mid to late game, right? They absolutely have to board wipe you. They're board wiping you. You're getting rid of 1 or 2 creatures, but your mutate creatures, you know, however many you have on that stack, 2, 3, they get to all come back. And the reason that I say it could be a little bit better, generally if your opponent's board wiping, they're like, ooh, emergency button, you know, smash it. Because that's, you know, what board wipe is, right? It's like, oh, can't take any more, gotta stop it. Kaya's Ghost form, they'll do that. However, you'll have 2 to 3 creatures, and the reason I say it could be better is when you mutate, all the creatures' stats are smushed into 1. So you're losing, realistically, if you mutate an Insatiable Hemophage onto a Zagoth Mamba, you're losing the 1/1 stats from the Zagoth Mamba because Insatiable Hemophage is just stacking on top of it. So when you use Kaya's Ghost form and they both return, instead of just having the 3 damage from Insatiable Hemophage, you now have 4 damage because the creatures are split. Does that make sense? So Kaya's Ghost form, actually very, very strong, and it's one of those cards that, like, I might have thrown this in to the deck originally had I thought about it originally. So I definitely think it's worth testing out. Now, Daxos and Heliod are in here. If you're digging the life gain, you know, Daxos can be mutated onto. It's very, very easy to mutate onto him, right? Allows you to gain life, all that good stuff. And then Gideon, well, not Gideon, I'm sorry, Heliod. I was like, Gideon, wait a minute. Heliod allows you to add counters every time you gain life. And if he steps up, you know, and he becomes this indestructible creature, I don't recommend mutating onto him because I don't know what happens when his ability goes to proc. I'm sure it just procs and he just goes back whether he's mutated onto or not. So don't really recommend mutating onto Heliod unless you just know you're going to win. But it is nice for being able to assign out lifelink, right? You know, if you have a Vulpikeet flying in the air on an Ajani's Pridemate, the only thing you're thinking to yourself is, how in the hell can I gain some life gain, right? So Heliod, kind of nice for that, as it's just 2 mana. Boom, life gain on any creature except for himself, obviously. So Daxos, Heliod, if you're trying to go for a more life gainy route, right? Unlikely aid, if people just keep killing your stuff or you keep dying to combat tricks, this card's not bad. It's very cheap. It's 2 mana, instant speed, +2, +0, and target creature gains indestructible. Which obviously, with mutate, you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket, so you want it to be indestructible, right? You want that basket to be the strongest basket in the world. Moving us down, we have Gideon Blackblade, which kind of serves a similar purpose to Unlikely Aid and as the Heliod, right? So comes down, you have this 4/4 indestructible creature. 1, that's a solid attacker, right? It's a solid body swinging in every single turn. 2, again, you're putting all your eggs in this one mutate basket, so you want it to be a very strong basket. So being able to give, I'm going to stop with the basket analogy, being able to give your mutate creature, you know, lifelink on the brink of death is fantastic, because that brings you right back, right? Being able to give it indestructible so it can swing in with its menacing death touch and maybe cause a little mayhem there is almost invaluable. And then, of course, Gideon has that -6 where you get to exile target non-land permanent any target non-land permanent, might I add, which has got to be one of the strongest, you know, take cost away. It's got to be one of the strongest planeswalker abilities in the game. You can just get to exile a card, any card, pick and choose, no restrictions. Anyways, moving us on. I filmed this one a little cheeky, a little like funny, if you will, right? So Ritual of Soot, board wipe, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. And you're saying, well, Chance, you just talked about how you want this basket to be strong. You want it to survive. You want it to this and that. Well, here's the thing with Ritual of Soot. Destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. Okay. Well, if you mutated an Insatiable Hemophage down into your creature is now read as a 4 CMC creature. As long as it's over, of course. Same thing for the Vulpikeet. You're paying 3 mana, but you have a 4 CMC creature on the board, so when you go to board wipe, you're gonna save your mutate creature. Now, sure, you're gonna lose the Pridemate and the Zagoth Mamba and all that, so maybe rethink out the lower end of your deck. Maybe leave Serrated Scorpion in there if you're gonna use Ritual of Soot. But I thought it was a very, like, cheeky, like I said, like, very, like, ooh, smooth. Sly. I don't know the word I'm trying to look for there, but it's interesting to note something like that, right? You mutate down into a creature, it becomes the CMC of that creature, and you can use that to your advantage in some very niche scenarios. So Ritual of Soot, you might try it out, you might not. And then of course, okay, so here's the thing. We have a whole lot of life gain. You're in the right colors for it. Balasta Citadel is a favorite of mine, and let's be real, if you're playing a whole lot of mutate creatures, Insatiable Hemophage mostly, wink wink, you want to be able to cast them as soon as possible, right? And you want to be able to throw them all onto the same creature, and it's easiest to do that when you can cast them all in the same turn. So Balasta Citadel, obviously, you know, stacked alongside the Insatiable Hemophages or all the life gain or whatever, can be very good at drawing you out. Now you're I'm not going to say never, but you're generally not going to win a game with Balasta Citadel by sacrificing 10 non-land permanents with this deck. So go ahead and, you know, get that out of your mind. This is simply to try to rip those mutates off the top. Get all your Insatiable Hemophages on one creature, whatever, one mutated, manifested phage. Right? And then you just keep mutating onto it, basically. It's like endless mutates. And then Liliana is actually a very interesting addition, or possible addition to the deck. One, it reads, whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. So you're not losing as much when your mutate creature dies to begin with, right? That's kind of good. You're getting to draw a card. You're getting to replace at least a little sliver of the beast, right? And then for +1, you get to create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, which can be mutated onto, so you're getting a free mutate target. And again, this is, you know, late game because Liliana is 6 mana. So let's say you've gotten to late game and you can't get your Healer's Hawk or your Zagoth Mamba or whatever. You can't get it to stick and you can't get your mutate creatures. Well, now you have 2/2 zombies, and there's nothing special in between each individual zombie, so it doesn't matter which one you mutate onto, and that makes it a little bit more difficult come the opponent's turn when they have those sorcery speed spell removals. You know, they don't know which one to remove because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one you mutate onto. They're all the same. Furthermore, let's say you're just behind late game. They've just board wiped you, and now they sort of re-established their board side, but you haven't had time to re-establish yours. Now you can make them sacrifice 2 creatures with Liliana, given, of course, she's alive and all that good nonsense. And then, of course, her ulti ability is her ulti ability, which is pretty good. It's like a game ender, some would even venture to say. Anyways, I know this was a very, very long deck tech wrap up, as I've decided we're going to try to start calling it. Somebody had suggested that, and I think that's a fantastic idea. Even though it was a long one, I feel like a lot of the information is either was asked for or something that I'm trying to provide to see if y'all will appreciate. Anyways, as always, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment section, subscribe, all that great stuff. And as always, I'll see you later tonight or tomorrow. Peace.